Hello there my Jedi and Sith friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your friend and your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today, we've got some enormous Star Wars updates, one for the TV side of things and one for the movies. So do you guys remember the other day when a rumour came out that Star Wars might be working on a new live action show? It turns out there's a small chance, and this is just a bit of fan math, it is the once cancelled Rangers of the New Republic. And why am I saying this? Because after the Gina Carano Disney lawsuit was settled, something insane happened. Gina Carano confirms that she spoke with Lucasfilm's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and the conversation was amicable, and everyone was on good terms, and she kind of hints they were talking about where to go next. And if you look at the terms of the settlement, there seems to be a clause where she could return to Star Wars, and fans are wondering if Cara Dune might be on the way back. In a new interview on the Ariel Helwani show, Gina Carano said this: "I've already had a conversation with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. They're lovely. After we settled the lawsuit, we got on a Zoom call. Dave Filoni is taking over as the CEO of Lucasfilm, and it's like we didn't even miss a beat. And Jon Favreau was really funny. He got on the Zoom and he was like, 'So where did we leave off?' And like I say, my friends, a lot of this is speculative. We shouldn't jump the gun, but I have to wonder why she got on a call with Jon and Dave. Was it just to clear the air? Or was it to do with the future of the Mandoverse? A day or two ago, when doing an interview for the Mandalorian and Grogu, Jon Favreau teased that there is more Mandoverse after Ahsoka Season 2. Is it possible a Cara Dune show or something relating to Rangers of the New Republic is back on the slate? I honestly don't know, guys. We've heard so many different things about Rangers. Some of it was incorporated by the Mandalorian's third season, notably Chapter 19 The Convert, and I know they're sprinkling some of it into Ahsoka's second season. But if there was ever a sign they're bringing back the fan favourite from the first two seasons, this would be it. Some will celebrate this, some will be very upset about it, but Cara Dune as a character was very popular on the show. And as a concept, Rangers of the New Republic seemed like a really fun idea. Not just with Cara Dune, but there were rumours of more Carson Tava, at one point more Cobb Vanth, and even Bo-Katan's involvement in the New Republic. The Mandalorians are back on their homeworld, but there's a big war about to break out. One has to assume that Bo-Katan and her Mandos are going to be part of that. Moving on though, my friends, somehow the Acolyte returned. The Acolyte is back in Disney Plus's streaming charts, and it seems like this is the effect of Maul Shadow Lord, but not because people are seeking out the Acolyte organically, although I'm sure there are some. It's more that the Acolyte is recommended and autoplays after any episode of the Maul Show, and after a few seconds it plays the Acolyte episode 1. So for those thinking this is some kind of big resurgence, unless this is just a major coincidence, I think the Maul factor has a lot to do with it. But now, my friends, on to some Star Wars movie news. This is pretty big. We finally have clarification on what's going on with the new Jedi Order, better known in the fandom as simply the Rey movie. This was the one by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, announced in 2023 at Star Wars Celebration. Now, in the years since, we've had an array of different rumours, and I would say semi-updates. Daisy Ridley to this day is still adamant the movie is going to happen at some point, but we've had no news on the production date, on when they're going to start filming, or even if Charmin Obaid-Chinoy is still working on the project, because this thing has gone through so many different writers that I wouldn't be surprised if the director has changed. Then there is the consideration of Kathleen Kennedy stepping down as Lucasfilm president, and if Dave Filoni still wants to go ahead with it. Well, today's update kind of addresses a lot of this. Now, I have to be honest, aside from a few cheers from fans when Daisy Ridley was brought onto the stage at Star Wars Celebration, I've not seen much buzz for this film. And with hindsight, I think it's a blessing that Star Wars Starfighter is the first post-Episode 9 movie that's going to come out. Sean Levy's film sounds fun, sounds dynamic, Disney is proud of it, insiders were saying they're more confident about Starfighter than Mando and Grogu, the cast is phenomenal, and even if we do get a couple of sequel cameos or whatever, if I had to make a prediction, I would say it's probably going to do really well, especially in the era of Star Wars Celebration in Los Angeles and the 50th anniversary of A New Hope. I think that buzz could really translate to good box office numbers. But as for the Rey movie, it seems indefinitely delayed, but we do have an update. So this is being reported across different outlets like Bespin Bulletin, but the origin of the source is Fives Walker, someone who's been accurate with their scoops for Maul Shadow Lord. They've had a couple of tidbits for Ahsoka, Mando, They also reported that Luke Skywalker's going to be in Tales of the Jedi Season 2, and even though I was skeptical at first, after talking to them, after seeing how they get their information, I think they're pretty darn legit. In 2026, with the absence of some of the big guys who left, like making StarWars.net, legit scoops are very hard to come by. And on the Rey front, they provided a very insightful update. It turns out, the movie should have been filmed a long time ago. In 2023, before the writer's strike, New Jedi Order was ready to go. They had an exceptional team that featured award-winning creatives in their respective trades, lauded for both their blockbuster and awards-friendly work. And then they provide some more information. They say they were actively casting male and female leads right before the strikes. One of the main roles was a male lead, person of color, late teens, early 20s. The role was for a quote, bad boy, and there was romantic tension with a female lead. So before the strikes, they were good to go. Lucasfilm was happy, there was a great team. So the big question is, why didn't they continue? After the strikes were done, why did they pivot? Maybe Lucasfilm gave up on it, maybe it was to do with scheduling, Daisy Ridley's plans, but according to the source, Lucasfilm is not giving up on Rey. They say this: Lucasfilm loves Rey, was a very special character for all the senior execs. Dave Filoni, likes her too. The sequel trilogy will never be retconned. Now look, they're definitely right about the retcon thing, and this might not be the news fans want to hear. This is just one source saying it, so do take these things with a pinch of salt, but it matches exactly what we've heard from other creatives. Dave himself has defended the character of Rey on numerous occasions, in press conferences, in interviews, in behind-the-scenes notes for the directors on the sequel trilogy. He was one of the first people to approve the hunt for Ben Solo, and even Kathleen Kennedy said he's down for the Simon Kinberg trilogy. So Dave is clearly a sequel fan. So if you were hoping Dave Filoni was going to veto the character of Rey, that is not going to happen. But from Disney's perspective, we're getting a very different impression. They've been walking back a lot of sequel content. For one thing, the sequel characters have been more or less replaced at the parks. We recently had the Luke, Han and Leia reveals at Galaxy's Edge. It might be too little too late, but Josh D'Amaro seems to acknowledge that fans love the OT, and Galaxy's Edge should never have just been limited to one era. And another great example is that, for some upcoming merch, the Star Wars universe is described as a 6-movie saga. They omitted the sequel trilogy. So is the Rey movie gonna happen? Honestly, for practical purposes, I just don't see it. Maybe in the far future, but it's not on the table at the moment. And I say this because based on what we've heard from people like Athena Portillo, Dave himself, teases and rumors for upcoming content, it doesn't seem like their primary focus. We might get an update at Star Wars Celebration 2027, but now we know that before the strikes, it was something that was imminent. And had the writer strikes never happened, it might have been a movie released last Christmas, because I do know that at one point, they were eyeing a December 2025 date. What do you guys think? What do you make of all of today's updates? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you always.